Every once in a while, it feels like the stars align and the universe smiles down on us, and something bad finally happens to a bad person. Donald Trump has lost $500 million due to his own actions with these tariffs. And it's not just him. Elon Musk's finances have also shit the bed thanks to Trump's tariffs. Now, these people are still disgustingly rich. I mean, don't get me wrong. But it's nice to see that something bad is finally happening to these people because they're the ones who are responsible for all of this craziness. Okay, so let's just dive into the details. On April 2nd, the day Trump rolled out his plan for sweeping tariffs, Forbes pegged his net worth at $4.7 billion. Less than a week later, it's down to an estimated $4.2 billion. Not exactly a small chunk of change, but there you go, as the value of his public stock and private holdings fall in tandem with a broader market. Trump's real estate holdings are down an estimated $90 million, with his holdings falling 14% after his tariff announcement. Another place where Trump gets a huge chunk of his money is with his golf courses and hotels, and those are losing value too as the hospitality industry is starting to dry up. As this country club member says, if you hit a recession, your wife looks over to you and says, "What the heck are you doing with this expensive club membership?" So naturally, in times of economic turmoil, there's less and less people playing golf. Therefore, Trump's golf courses have shaved another $70 million off of his net worth. Now, it seems like recently Trump has been moving from real assets like real estate and golf courses to fake bullshit like cryptocurrency and meme coins. World Liberty Financial, a project that promised a financial revolution, has funneled nearly $400 million to the president and his family. Then came sales of Trump coin, which probably supplied at least another $170 million. Trump's first fail son, Eric Trump, publicly touted Ether in February, telling his Twitter followers it was a, quote, great time to add Ethereum. The currency is down 45% since then, including an 18% drop in the wake of Donald Trump's tariff announcement. Just another set of horrible financial advice from a Trump. To add it all up, Trump's losses from privately held assets appear to outweigh those from his publicly traded stock. The greatest threat to Trump is not direct tariffs on products he imports, given that his businesses don't sell much in the way of hard goods. It's the loss of investor confidence around the world. People rely on whims, not logic, when deciding whether to buy or ditch luxury real estate, pricey club memberships, and high-flying meme stocks. The more uncertainty Trump injects into the global economy, the further his net worth will tumble. He also seems to be messing up the bag for the world's richest man, Elon Musk, whose sprawling global business empire will be slammed by Trump's tariff regime. Let's check out the details. It's no great wonder why Musk is unhappy. Tariffs are bad for business and really bad for the businesses of the world's richest man. Tesla's stock has fallen 17% since Trump's reciprocal tariff announcement. SpaceX, which is privately held, faces rising costs across its supply chain and unhappy international clients. Musk's artificial intelligence startup, xAI, tunnel builder Boring Company, and brain implant firm Neuralink will also face rising costs and supply chain disruptions. In the case of his social media company, X, formerly known as Twitter, it faces a probable decrease in ad spending if fears of a recession come true. I don't know if you guys have been on X recently, but it seems like the only advertisers still left there are either conservative weirdos or scam-filled mobile games. Trump's tariffs are about to make Tesla's reality even more painful. Like most large manufacturers, Tesla relies on global supply chains for the raw materials that go into its vehicles. Government data from the end of last year shows that Tesla imports between 20 to 25% of car parts from foreign suppliers, excluding Canada, for the cars it builds and sells in the US. That includes materials it uses for its electric batteries, 40% of which comes from Chinese suppliers. It is a debacle of epic proportions for the whole auto industry, including Tesla. Global head of technology research for Wedbush Securities told Forbes via email, "Economic Armageddon," he said. And it's not exactly like he's been quiet about it. He tweeted back when the tariffs were announced that it's important to note that Tesla is not unscathed here. The tariff impact on Tesla is still significant. But even if Tesla fares better than its rivals in terms of prices, it still has to deal with a deterioration of its brand equity, which is likely to accelerate if Trump's tariffs spark a recession. Says Ting-Long Dai, a supply chain professor at Johns Hopkins University who has studied Tesla. "I think its business will be even worse, not only because of the rising costs, but also because now you have this backlash that is deepening. People didn't like him. Now people are going to hate him even more." It turns out when you're a billionaire who calls people parasites for being on welfare, they start burning down your Tesla dealerships, and that's not good for business. But the Musk business that's taking maybe the biggest brunt of this impact is SpaceX. James Gellert, the executive chairman of Supply Chain Analytics, says that SpaceX has done a pretty good job of internalizing a lot of their development and manufacturing, but they still have a lot of suppliers that have exposure to countries affected by tariffs. There are certain components or elements that are going into the construction of high-tech products like SpaceX that don't have a lot of alternative providers, and so that concentration risk is exacerbated when the costs go up exponentially. One of those elements is samarium, a silvery metal that is a critical component in magnets used in SpaceX rocket propulsion system and in those of other U.S. aerospace and defense companies. The U.S. imports much of its samarium from China. Chinese officials announced that the country will require licenses for export of samarium and 6 other rare earth elements. Exporters of the minerals will need to apply for export licenses through China's Ministry of Commerce. A buyer can't necessarily diversify away from a supplier or a location, says Gellert, and this is one of the problems with the current tariff thinking. The idea that buyers and buying companies can shift their supply chain to be domestic is naive. It turns out that when you get your supply of rare earth metals from the one country that you're trying to demonize the most, they're not too happy on selling you their rare earth metals. And how much do you guys want to bet that Trump losing $500 million was the reason for his whole little insider trading pump and dump scheme? Usually this level of corruption is only seen in third world countries, but here we are. Insider trading? Donald Trump's firm earned $415 million in a single day, while White House employees made billions. Trump had insisted via a social media post on Wednesday afternoon that this was a great time to buy as stock markets tumbled and a global trade war appeared to loom. The post concluded with his initials, this is a typo, it's DJT, not DGT, which also happens to be the stock ticker symbol for Trump Media Company, the company that owns Truth Social. Regardless of intent, his company posted a stunning rally as investors rushed to buy Trump Media stock. The company, where the president owns a 53% stake, saw shares surge 22.67%, twice the gain of the broader market on Wednesday. And you can tell that this move was financially motivated because Trump couldn't even come up with a strategic reason for why he's doing it. Check this out. It also remains unclear when the decision to revoke tariffs was actually taken by the White House. Trump was asked when did he arrive on the decision to reverse tariffs, and he answered by saying, "I would say this morning. Over the last few days, I've been thinking about it fairly early this morning." So Trump just randomly decided that morning to reverse the tariffs and made sure all of his little buddies knew about it beforehand so they could make smart buys. And then he tweeted now would be a good time to buy in order to cover up for his insider trading. Trump learned the first time around that if he airs out his corruption in public, then people just sort of let him get away with it. Trump and his lackeys had to come up with some scheme to make up for all the money that they're losing due to Trump's tariffs. This is going to amount to one of the biggest wealth transfers in American history, as Trump's tariffs basically amount to a sales tax on poor and middle-class people, while his tax cuts, in addition to insider trading, allow for him and his rich billionaire friends to make millions off of our backs. In a healthy democracy, these sorts of actions would result in jail time, but seeing as there's a bunch of baboons in office, I bet Donald Trump is just going to give himself the Medal of Honor. I'm Tony Hinderman with Really American, and I'll catch you next time.